We're going to talk about the double acting 270 millimeter bore actuator where we're going to reverse the pistons, which also you would use the same process to do a seal kit. We need an Allen key, a C-clip, a snap ring remover, and some various wrenches. Here we're removing the caps of the actuator, and when you remove them you want to make sure to not miss the O-rings that go around the air ports. And then you have to be aware of which side the pistons are facing. I've found the best way to remove the pistons is to apply air to the outward stroke on the inside of the pistons and push them out. And then the second one you will have to push out with your hands. And this is where I'm marking which side the skirt makes the contact with the bore, so that when I reverse them I know which way to put it back in, and I put it back in exactly the opposite. Sometimes you have to turn the stem in the middle to get the teeth off of the piston. And this is where you want to be aware of the piston skirts. They will sometimes fall out or stick to the inside of the bore, and you want to make sure you get all 6 of them in this application. We remove the snap ring with a snap ring puller. They always apply or give you a new one, but to be careful of the Teflon seat if you are not changing the seal kit and you're just reversing the pistons. You want to be very careful with these items, because if you crack them, they are no good. You push the stem out, and this one's rather large, so it's difficult to pull out. And now you have an empty housing. Stem out to be able to show you how to pull it out for when you need to do a seal kit. Reversing the pistons, this step is not necessary. So we're going to put the stem back in, put the Teflon thrust washer, and snap ring back on. I've found it's easier if you have somebody help you with this, especially on the larger ones, because you need somebody to push it down into the groove while you actually lift the piston and the stem, and that stem weighs quite a bit. It's about 40 pounds. So that's what I'm doing here, and he is making the seat on the snap ring. Now we're ready to put our pistons back in and pay attention to the marks and put them back in exactly opposite. Be aware of your skirts, and you just want to get them to where the teeth make contact with the piston. On these larger ones, it is next to impossible to push it in, because you need equal force on both sides with your arms. Tried. So I got the first one on the gear. Replace the second one. And I have found the method that I use best is have someone turn the stem, and as you can see, it's about 20 degrees off right now. I want that thing totally vertical and both pistons grabbing on the first tooth. So we'll cycle it over, see where it lands. Looks like we need to go a couple of teeth. This is where I find that if you stand on it or use your body weight, you can get both of them to skip teeth and align up on the correct tooth. At the end of the stroke, you want the stem to be totally vertical. Now we're going to replace the pistons, or the end caps. It's very important you pay attention to the air passage O-rings. When we replace the bolts and all the O-rings, I use a high temp axle grease that's good for Buna and Viton. I tend to shy away from lithium. I don't think it does so well with water, and there's always water in the line. Tighten your bolts using a star pattern so that you don't pinch any gaskets or O-rings. Once you've got both your end caps on, paying attention to the O-rings, and once your product is fully assembled, you must pay attention to your stroke adjustment. On the smaller sizes, this is on the top of the actuator, and on the larger sizes, it is in the end cap. This is absolutely critical for butterflies especially, but it is very critical to make sure that your stroke, it goes a full 90 degrees. And it also has an O-ring that should be checked to make a seal in the cylinder. This has an Allen and a nut and a lock nut. So you loosen the Allen, adjust this stroke adjustment, and then tighten the lock nut so it does not move. This concludes our piston reversal of the pneumatic double acting 270 millimeter bore actuator.